I am Alejandra Ottolina. Thank you for being here. I can see a lot of people I know. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, because I know you are tired. I know you've been working, so it's great to have you here. And this time we're going to talk about On the Pulse, second edition. Okay, On the Pulse was a bestseller, and now we offer you a second edition. So, we are talking about 4 levels, from starter to level 3. And this is interesting because you have different opportunities to join or to access the course. You've got a starter level, but you've also got a level 1 if you consider that your students know a little bit, have already learned a little bit. Now, this series is for either the end of the primary section, primary school, or for lower secondary. Hello from Mar del Plata. I'm greeting everybody. Hello. I cannot see you, unfortunately, but I can read you, okay? I can read your chats here. So if I say end of primary or lower secondary, and for about 3 hours of English a week, 3-4 hours of English a week, either in a school or at an institute. As teachers, what are you interested in? What do you need? Hello from Mendoza. Hello from Córdoba. A very federal meeting. I like it so much. Great. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Olga, for your comments. Okay, so I'm asking you, what do you need? When you look for a book, what makes you choose one book rather than another one? I want to see your comments. Come on, start typing. Let's see. Hello, Mar del Plata. Hello, Tandil, Rosario. Oh, my dog is barking. Aha, let's see. To have a very easy to complete test. Okay, I would say textbook, right? With activities that are suitable for everybody. Real life, that's very important. Good. What else? Yes. Just that? It would be very easy to please you all. Hello, Moron. Good. Activities that are contextualized. Fine. Inspiring. Interesting topics for teens. Good. Grammar topics. Workbook together. Good. Hello, San Luis. Okay. All this to engage students and students in large classes. Yes. And you know what? At Macmillan, before starting the production of any series, we get in touch with teachers, and we get in touch with teachers from all over the country, and we organize focus groups to ask these teachers what is it that they need. So I can assure you that this is like proven pedagogy. This is going to help your students succeed. This is going to guarantee that you find everything easy enough, teacher friendly enough, productive enough, because it's not just all this that you're asking for, but much more. Look at all the things that teachers usually ask for. When we teach 3 hours of English, 4 hours of English a week, it's true. I mean, we are not in a bilingual school, but all the same, we want our students to produce. We want to see results. And actually, students also want to see results, because if they don't see results, and if they don't see results immediately, they get frustrated. They think, what am I here for? To go on learning the verb to be, to go on learning the present continuous. I mean, very often we notice that they've studied the present continuous in terms of theory, but they fail to use it naturally. They fail to use it spontaneously. So if you want a solution for that, then here it is. Usually when I make this question, what is it that you need? Teachers ask for a lot of things. These are just a few. Texts, yes, but interesting, engaging, realistic and things that they can Google, things that they can give or talk about a personal experience in connection with those texts that even when maybe they are for didactic purposes, they look authentic. because otherwise they just don't buy the product. I mean, teenagers are critical about this, okay? Practice. Practice is essential precisely because when we teach 3 or 4 periods of English a week, we are talking about a very foreign language situation. So it's not like in a bilingual school where children learn English naturally as if it were the mother tongue. Here, we see them twice a week if we are lucky, if there is no holiday in between, if they are not absent in between. And so that practice has to be, first of all, not frustrating, because if not, they just give up. Second, there has to be a lot of practice and varied so that they don't get bored. At the same time, that practice has to be in some kind of context that helps them associate ideas, because otherwise they don't remember, because we know they don't study. So a lot of practice and a lot of variety in the practice. And then teachers ask for extras. And that word is magical. Extra what? Extra everything. Digital resources, extra worksheets, tests with set A and set B, extras in terms of videos and activities, extras in connection with tips on how to use different apps on the phone. For example, now in this context, the phone has become essential. And when we go back to class, I know that in this segment, in many schools, smartphones or telephones in general were not allowed in the classroom. Now, when we go back to school, we will have to see to that again. I believe the telephone will become a very important tool. So all those extras, then a clear methodology. Because we very often notice that in this effort to make the book look attractive, in this effort to make the book look dynamic and modern, the book is just a collection of things like bits and pieces from different parts, sometimes even different books. And a series like that lacks a clear methodology. And every series should have a clear methodology, because the methodology is the philosophy of the book. So the student needs variety, but the student also needs some kind of structure. The student also needs to know when he's going to focus on grammar, when he's going to learn new words, how to deal with a text, and all that is given by that clear methodology. When we put together bits and pieces, it's very difficult to get a clear methodology. And if the methodology is not clear, the result is never a good one. Of course, digital material, because up to now, at least in some places, our country is a vast country. And in many places, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to see our students face to face again, if we're going to see them all together or just groups. So digital material, that is essential. Then we need all skills, or at least the 4 skills, plus we are speaking about teenagers. And again, we want them to use the language. English is a language. English is alive. English is to be spoken. English is to be produced. So we need all the skills. And because this is a foreign language reality, the skills have to be like on different pages and at the same time on separate pages. That is, you need skills integration, a bit of speaking on every page, but at the same time, there has to be a section for speaking so as to develop the skill more carefully, more in depth. Then projects. Of course, projects are optional. I know that many teachers don't want to devote time to projects. But if the project is meaningful, if the project makes your students choose, create, produce, investigate, then it's going to be great. And Alicia is saying our classes are very diverse, large, 36 students. Okay, that's true. That's true. But I can assure you, Alicia, that you're going to find this very interesting. Of course, we want tests because we teach in different places and we have no time to start writing and creating tests. And the tests have to be safe, because the idea of a test is to show us and to show them, our students, how much they have learned, not to show them how much they have not learned or how bad they are at English. It's exactly the opposite. And of course, realistic aims, knowing Yes. When will the new edition be ready? For next year, you have everything. Okay. This is where we are presenting the book, Flavia. Thank you for asking. So, realistic aims in the sense that we know that you teach 3 or 4 hours of English a week. We know you have more than 30 students sometimes. So, you will see what the activities are like. You will see the visuals in the book. And you will see that the aims, what we ask them to do with the language, is possible, attainable, achievable. So, uh, for those of you who use the old edition on the Pulse, when we speak about a new edition, very often we speak about 30%, 40% of changes. Now, in this book, a lot of things have been changed. To begin with, most of the texts, we have added a lot of material. We have created new digital materials that Mariela is going to talk about later on. And this time, the book comes together with the workbook and with the skills builder. The skills builder last year came in a separate booklet. Now it's all in one. The students will buy one book, and in there they will find the students, the workbook, and the skills builder. Everything full color. Okay. The book will look fresher, more modern. There will be a lot of new texts, a lot of extra, much more practice, and one project per unit. In the old edition, we didn't have one project per unit. And something that teachers liked, Pulse Magazine and the Creative Corner, now we have kept it, but we have taken it to the ebook. We have made it like more interactive. Okay, so this is to show you that the old edition was great, but this is greater still. So I invite you to walk through. Okay, I've got some questions here. Right, Victor is asking, do you think that we have to start first year at the secondary school with a starter level or with level 1? Well, Vicky, it depends on your students. I'm sure that after the first week or the first fortnight, you will see if most of them know the verb to be, they know the colors, they know the basic things, and then you can start with level 1, just revising key concepts. Now, if you feel that most of them don't know anything, because it also depends on the province, okay, and on the number of periods they have had. So this is why, knowing this, we offer you 2 possibilities, starter or level 1. Remember that when you decide whether it's the starter or level 1, you always have the possibility to revisit language, to revisit grammar content. So don't think that because they don't use do and does, they have to go back to, no, it's not that anymore. We aim at a bigger thing. We aim at communication. In fact, many people don't use auxiliaries and they are able to communicate. So I'm not saying that it's the same. What I'm saying is try this, the fact that they don't use the do or they don't use any auxiliary or they don't know the difference between is and are. Try that. Try to make it possible for the students to go on learning. If we stop, you will stop all the time because actually they finish the secondary school without knowing do and does very often or did. Okay. Fabiana says we have 5 hours a week and we use both. That's okay. Well, in fact, this new edition has got more material. So if you use everything with the digital components, and if you exploit the material, you may even use one for 5 hours, but you have to exploit the material, okay? And also remember that if you adopt the series, we give you the teacher's book, and we may even organize a seminar. We may even organize a workshop with Mariela to teach you how to work with the digital components. So let's go on. And now I invite you to walk through the series to show you how we present vocabulary, how we present grammar, and the different parts. Each unit has got 2 vocabulary presentations and 2 grammar presentations. I will show you one of each because we use the same strategies and the same methodology. Vocabulary. As you can see, it's not just 4 or 5 words. It's an interesting number of words, and all the words are contextualized. Contexts come in terms of visual things. There is a visual context, and the visual context takes you to a reading context. But all the vocabulary is contextualized. The contexts are very simple in a way that the students, all students with better English, with English that is not so good, even students with difficulty, all of them can understand the context, okay? And that very simple presentation, which is done through a mini task, it's never listen and repeat, never. We always start from what they know. We always start from an analysis of the context, the visual context, and then we tell them to look at the words that are highlighted or the words that come in a banner on the right, and then they start doing something with those words. And you will see that half will be able to do 5 sentences, or will be able to discover the meaning of 5 words, and the other half, the others. Or if they don't, then you teach the words formally. But students know many more words than those they can produce naturally, okay? So all these vocabulary presentations are followed by very short activities. And if you look down, what I'm showing you now, this is the presentation, and then look at the activities. You see that they are very short. Of course, you cannot read them, but they are very, very short. This is a characteristic of the series. All the activities in general, the reading, the grammar, all the activities are short. Why? Because we want, first of all, the lesson to be dynamic, and then we want to avoid frustration. As I told you before, English is to be spoken. English is to be developed gradually. You don't learn English from one day to the other, but students can make progress, and that is easy. Okay. Mariana is asking how, but I don't know how what. Sorry, Mariana, if you can complete your question, I will answer. No problem. All right. So in the meantime, let's go on. All that vocabulary is going, not all, but most, is going to be used in texts, as I told you. It has a lot of texts because that is what teachers want. And this is level 1, but you can see that the length of the text is quite interesting. They are not very short, silly, empty of meaning texts. It's not the kind of text like, I am Mary, I get up at 4 and I take the 4:30 bus. It's never that. Texts are relevant. Texts always lead to some kind of personalization. That is, they can always be associated with the student's reality. If you live in San Juan, in Mendoza, in Mar del Plata, you can always say, well, talk about a club, okay? And as you can see, they are topics that students are used to reading about. All these texts are all the time accompanied by interesting visuals that they will need to understand, or visuals that will help them to understand some part of the text. And again, I invite you to look down at the bottom of the page, and you will see the reading comprehension activities. All the readings have got pre, while, and post activities, and they are very, very short, because we want the lesson to be dynamic, because we want everybody to participate, because we want them to be able to do the activities, to be able to produce. Let's go on. And so the vocabulary is used in reading texts, and from the reading texts, we take the grammar that we are going to present. That is, the reading texts will have the new grammar point included. But that new grammar is not going to be used in the activities because it hasn't been taught yet. The following lesson, we, in a way, remind the students of the text, we revise the text, we exploit the text a little bit, and from there, we take examples that will help us contextualize the grammar we are going to present. If you look at the page there, you will see that it's very clearly divided into use and form. This helps the student understand that the examples show how the grammar is used, and the form is the formula that they have to remember. But that form is presented in the form of a chart. With, in this case, imagine the present continuous. You have all the different forms of the verb to be and the verbs with ing and the question form and the negative form, and the students have to discover the rule, which they complete in the color code part, that is D. So from the examples, we take them to the formula that they have to discover, and they complete it themselves using a color code. Okay? Yes, all right. Okay, thank you for your comments. Also, we have all the time these small charts that draw your attention and your students' attention to different aspects of the language. In this case, it's comparing languages, okay, reflecting. Things like, do you have auxiliaries in your language? Yes, no. Do they have a meaning? What happens in English? Okay. Or reflecting on the order of words. Do you use this same order in your language? Yes, no, when? And in the case of vocabulary, you also have these attention, let's say, boxes that will make students reflect on how to learn vocabulary better. Okay. Drawing mind maps or sticking cards on the fridge or in their bedroom, so that they discover their own learning strategies. You know that we all learn in different ways. The important thing is to show the 30 or 35 students that there is a way. They have to discover it. And their way is not my way, but they have to discover the way, and the series helps them to think about that. Now, let's go on. I told you about skills. You all have reading, speaking on the different pages, but there are special pages for devoted to the development of the skills, because skills don't grow on trees. And I guess you have noticed that there are many skills that our students don't handle in their own language. When it comes to reading comprehension, we have serious problems in Argentina. When it comes to listening comprehension, we have serious problems in Argentina. Most teachers, all subjects, complain about the fact that students don't follow instructions. Okay? So, of course, the more communicative skills, like, for example, the first page that you can see there, the Build Your Skills section, refers to the more functional aspects of the language. The grammar and the vocabulary, we use them all together in certain expressions with certain modals in certain situations. It's not only learning the imperative, but how do we use the imperative to, for example, give directions? Okay, but giving directions is not just using the imperative. Sometimes we have to teach them the difference between right and left. Sometimes we have to teach them that they have to respect traffic lights, or there are places in our country where there are no traffic lights, or where the streets don't look the same as they look in Buenos Aires, for example. Okay, so in this Build Your Skills section, you're going to develop the more functional aspects of the language. This is challenging. Yes, it is. This requires pair work, oral work. Yes, it does. But remember that English is to be spoken, okay? Even if we have 40 students, I know it's difficult. I know it's almost impossible to make the 40 speak naturally, but I can assure you that with these strategies, because everything is guided, everything is to be imitated, we try to guarantee your management. When the students know exactly what they have to do, and when the book tells them step by step what they have to do, we are helping you to manage the 40, which is not easy, okay? Then, of course, listening and speaking, which is also very important, apart from the fact that we do listening throughout the book and speaking in smaller tasks. And then we come to writing. And you will say, well, I've got 40. It's difficult for me to get them to write. They are not highly motivated to write. Okay, I understand this, but we must understand that writing is important. So perhaps you don't want to do all the writing tasks, okay? It's advisable to give them a task once you know that you will have time to correct it, because if they write and you take a month to correct it, it's useless. But what you have here, or you may even correct it orally, or they may do it in groups. I mean, it's managing the situation, but managing the students and managing my own time. Okay, also, I look for strategies. Now, what is important about the writing is that it is connected to the topic based unit, of course. At the same time, it's not the silly sort of thing, Mary gets up at 4 o'clock, never ever. Also, it always comes with some kind of visual material that's going to help the student understand. It always comes with a model. The writing is modeled all the time. We, in each writing task and in each writing model, point out something linguistic, a linguistic aspect that we want to highlight, like how to express time sequences, how to use contrast linkers, for example, or how to avoid subject shifting, different aspects of the writing skill that we need to highlight here in the Write It Right section. And finally, the task itself. The students are going to write, but following the model, remembering this how to write it or Write It Right section, and in the writing task, they've got all the steps, how to plan their writing and how to edit the writing. Remember to check that you have used the present continuous, for example, to describe an action that is happening at the moment of speech. Basic things. So step by step, a model, a picture, a reminder in terms of language, you've got everything there. I also mentioned, well, I haven't mentioned this, a progress check. Every unit finishes in a progress check. The progress check is that. It's a way of checking what progress they are making. It's not just a way of telling them that they have failed. Okay, it's how well can you perform? And to make it attainable, the progress check goes hand in hand with the 2 vocabulary presentations and the 2 grammar presentations, the same titles. So 2 vocabulary exercises, 2 grammar exercises, and a more communicative task, okay? Whenever possible, in the vocabulary section, there are always pictures. But again, this progress check is to, or aims at, motivating the children before you give them the real test, okay? Yes, Sylvia says that they are useful. Exactly. They are useful before the test. You can do this orally, or you may even set this as homework for one day you will be absent. I mean, there are many uses, but they are always useful. Let's go down to another slide. And we have, yes, now the projects. Every unit finishes or gives you the chance to have a project. And projects are very important because it's very important to let the child, the student, create. It's very important because not everything is linguistic and not everybody is linguistic, okay? So projects are very interesting because each student is going to produce, or each pair or each group, depending on how you organize your classes, each group is going to produce something different. In this case, talking about ways of living, places where we live, they have to choose, or they have to Google and choose, or they have to create their own tiny house. And from that tiny house, once they have chosen it, then they're going to draw the plan. And then they're going to describe it orally. But you know what? It's not just describing a bedroom or describing the house. They're going to write using the past, how they felt when they chose it, why they chose it, what called their attention. So it's a very original combination. It's not a house for there is and there are. And all the time paying attention to how you felt, why you chose it. This is very, very important because it gives you the chance to personalize. And when each student or each pair or each group produces something different, what we are doing is respecting the child, respecting the fact that we are unique. So when everybody says, Mary gets up at 7, that is not communication. When one has to describe one house and say that he liked it because the house reminded him of, that's great. because there will be another who will say, no, I chose this one because I couldn't find another one. And that's great too. Okay, so the moment we manage to make students produce natural, spontaneous, original pieces of language, then we are on the right track. And that's very, very important. And then here comes a skill that is very important and modern, if you want, but also useful. The fact that have you noticed that now on this in this situation, many students don't like switching the cameras on. They work, they connect via Zoom or any platform you use, but the cameras are always off. And we say, well, they are shy. This is like a national syndrome, and we have to be very careful because these students will leave the school sometime and will have to face reality. We'll have to face the real world. We have to ask for a job. And looking down, not being able to look at somebody, not being able to express themselves is not going to help them in English, in Spanish, or in Turkish. So here comes the last part of any project that is the most important part. You have the picture, you have the plan, you have the written part of how you felt, why you chose it, but then you have to make a presentation. You have to speak to your classmates. You may do so just sharing a sheet of paper. You may do so just writing a Word document with a few pictures and photocopies, or you may do so using a PowerPoint, using an animated version. It doesn't matter because each student is going to do it in his own way, according to his or her abilities. But the important thing is all that visual part will need the presentation skill. And that is being able gradually to speak and to speak looking at the people and to speak using some kind of natural intonation pattern and to speak being able to include gestures, to include, I don't know, eye movement to make it natural. Of course, maybe at the beginning, they just sit at their desks, but there will, if we do all the projects, I guarantee that there will be a time when the students will be able to stand up and talk to the others. And eventually some will be able to stand up at the front and talk to the others. Because that is what English should be like. It's not just the present continuous at the formula stage. It's much more than that. And this book gives you all that. Then, the workbook and the skills builder at the back, the workbook and the skills builder comes upside down for them to identify everything easily, okay? The workbook, as you can see, with more reading, more vocabulary exercises, more grammar exercises, but everything full color, they will not realize they are doing the work. And something special also, the teacher's book, this new edition, the teacher's book has also been like enlarged, enhanced. We are going to add Zen, special educational needs, in the same way we are doing this for primary. Now it's part of the Macmillan project. We are included, yes, Sylvia is saying yes, we are including the skills builder as part of the book with new activities. It's not the same skills builder. So I go back to the teacher's book, which is also enhanced. It's going to have a lot of tips on videos, YouTube videos. It's going to have a lot of tips on which apps you can use to practice vocabulary, for example, or to practice grammar. It's going to have special educational needs, worksheets, and accommodations. So you as a teacher will have tips. For every lesson, tips about how to deal with children who have reading trouble, children who need more attention, children who cannot copy things, children who cannot complete exercises, and so on. And also, you or the parents or the students will be able to download accommodations. Some texts, some activities are adapted so that they download the pages and do a similar activity, but adapted to suit children with special needs. And also the teacher's book is going to include what we call ESI in Spanish, which is sex education, okay, not comprehensive sex education. All right, so I think that you've got there much more than what you asked for. And what about first finishers? Well, you've got exit tickets. Mariela is going to mention that. And you've got first finishers activities in the teacher's book and a lot of extra tips. First finishers may be everything, maybe exploitation of the same text, but it may also be an activity with a mobile. There are many activities for first finishers. And when we think about fast finishers, this is very tricky because we have fast finishers because we have slower students. So we have to be very careful. If the student is a fast finisher because he's bright at English, if a student is a fast finisher because he goes to private lessons, I mean, there are many aspects to be considered. Or maybe in a class, you've got half and they are not fast finishers. They are normal students because you've got other 20 students who are slower. Okay, there are many, many things. Considering all this, you've got much more than you need for 3 or 4 periods of English a week. Okay. Fabian is saying I couldn't understand what you said about the teacher's book. Okay, the teacher's book, of course, like any other teacher's book, comes with all the tips, step by step, how to teach each activity, or the keys, also the answers. But apart from the traditional activities, answers, suggestions, apart from that, this new teacher's book comes with extra things that we have added. Like, for example, suggestions about the use of certain YouTube videos, suggestions about different apps to use in class with a cell phone, and materials for special educational needs in a general way, like children who have difficulty at reading, or students who are very slow, students who can't copy, students with attention difficulties. And also some general ideas about comprehensive sex education. These parts, Zen and AC, are new. We didn't have it in the previous edition. This is why I'm mentioning them. The same as the YouTube video materials and the telephone apps. Okay? And Fabian is also saying, yes, comprehensive sex education is what we call ESI, Fabiana. Okay? ESI is in Spanish. You can say sexuality, sexual, or sex. All right? Okay, so Maria will go on now.
Okay, hello everyone. Just a second. Okay, thanks Ale, thanks everyone for being here. And I'm going to show you what you can find in as digital resources, yes, digital solutions for both teachers and students, yes? Okay, so first of all, we have the digital resources for teachers, yes? I always start for teachers because it's what we need for our classes. So when you get the teacher's book, you will have free access to the teacher's education app. Yes, you just activate a code and you get all this free material. You are going to have a presentation tool, that is to say the ebook, with the embedded audios and videos and some tools that I'm going to show you in a minute. So you don't need to use audio files or videos. Everything is embedded in the ebook. A unit opener with images or questions as triggers. So you introduce a topic, you use it as a warm-up to elicit previous knowledge. And this idea of the visual element that you need to introduce the topics. Then you also have interactive progress check activities. The Pulse magazines with video search activities, as Alejandra was mentioning. Yes, we are going to give you some tips on how to help students to go on the internet and look for things, because we believe that students are very digital, but then we have seen, especially this year, that they don't know how to look for information. They know how to use their devices. They are very quick when using their mobile phones, and they help you a lot. Even when they are little children, they know that. But then something different is digital literacy. Yeah, so we are also going to include this type of activities. And the Teachers Resource Center. In the Teachers Resource Center, you are going to find the teacher's book, yes, that you can also download, downloadable audios and videos, extra practice worksheets, the special education needs booklet, as Ale was mentioning, and also the ESI booklet with the accommodation and extra activities for the sensory and for the activities for the ESI area. A test activity bank, yes, in a Word format, so you can customize it for your classes. The Pulse Magazine worksheets and Creative Corner worksheets, and also the project and exit ticket templates. Yes, that is what you get in the Teachers Resource Center. And in the Teachers app, you will have the presentation tool that you can use either online, or if when we go back to classes and classrooms, you can use it on an interactive whiteboard or just a computer connected to a smart TV or a projector. You're going to have, for example, here the full page view of the book. Yes, and also the, as I told you, the audio and videos embedded. Yes, here you have also the menu so that you can navigate through the unit. You can also create classes and your students can join in. You can push them homework to their apps, because the students are also going to get an app that they can use in the computer or in on their mobile phones. You can follow their progress. You can navigate to the Teachers Resource Center or to the last lessons. Yes, then it's very easy and very friendly to user-friendly to navigate using the app. Here I show you the audio that is embedded. It's ready with all the interactive activities. Also, you can zoom in and use the activity and also check the activity in an interactive way. So you can zoom in each part of the unit. Then you have some simple tools that you can use in the presentation tool, such as a marker, text, yes, highlighting. Yes, you can choose the colors. You can choose how thick you want it to be, if you want to. So these are very simple tools already included in the Teachers app. It's a great addition, yes, exactly, Emilce. And for the students, they also are going to have free access to the Students Education app. They are going to find the ebook with audios and videos embedded, and also on-the-go practice with grammar and vocabulary interactive activities. Someone was asking about Fast Finisher. Well, this is an option that you can use, yes. The app provides opportunities for exposure to the target language, for class preparation, for consolidation in a gamified environment, yes, and also a Students Resource Center. Here, for example, you have the preparation and the practice. The preparation activities, you can set them before the class, for example, so that students elicit their knowledge. They are very simple activities. I'm going to show you some examples. And then you have the practice. Of course, you can choose how you're going to implement this, yes? For example, here you have vocabulary preparation, everyday activities, yes? So you can use it to revise or to elicit knowledge. And you see, it's 10 questions to answer in a very, very easy way. There's a question here. Do you select what you send students to the app? Yes, you can select, exactly. You can select what you want them to do as homework, and they have to join your class, yeah? And they also get a notification on their mobiles, your name, yes, Susana has sent you a homework, yes, so it's excellent for that. For example, in this case, this vocabulary preparation activity, they have to choose the correct phrase that goes with the picture. Here they have to match the correct description to the image. They will hate us. We'll have to Yes, you're right, Flavia. You don't abuse of this tool. You have to be very careful when you use it. Here they listen and choose the phrase that you hear, so you're also practicing listening skills. Choose the correct option to complete the sentences. Yeah, so there is a wide variety of activities, and they are like games. Yes, I know many students download, for example, Duolingo. So, well, this is the kind of activities they get, and they go with the course and the content they are practicing. Yes, choose the correct pronunciation. So there's a wide variety of activities, very friendly activities. And finally, the Students Resource Center. Remember, they are going to have the ebook with embedded audios and videos, and also the interactive progress, the Pulse magazine worksheets as well, and the Creative Corner worksheet, and also the project and exit tickets template. Yeah, so when the students get the book, they also have a free access to these digital resources. In this episode of Google Classroom platform, yes, because they have an instant. Of course, you cannot add your own activities. You can use the activities within the book. Yes. Okay, so I guess this is all. I don't know if you have more questions for me or for Alex or for Ale. Thanks. Here are you can get in touch with us, yes, for free samples. There you have our web page, and if you need more information, you can drop us an email to argentina.eltinfo@macmillaneducation.com, and also our social media channels, and of course you can contact your local representative. Thanks, Fabiana, from the Vision Department. Okay. You should do on the pulse 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Yeah.
How do the books align with Cambridge English Framework? Ale, can you answer that?
Yeah.
And
For the Cambridge.
in
Yeah. Fabiana, okay, for Cambridge English, you mean the foreign language exams, I suppose, pairs and all that. Well, this could be an introduction. And then after on the PALS, we suggest you go on to Optimize, which is specifically for the Cambridge exams. Okay, this could be an introduction getting to A2, and from there you move on to Optimize, which where you will have all the necessary skills development activities and exam tips and all that for PET and KET and first certificate, which, by the way, they have changed recently. And as to the Common European Framework in general, well, this is not an international series. This is a local series, locally produced for Argentina. So we have taken, considering it's for 3 to 4 hours of English a week, we have taken into consideration the national curriculum. So we cannot say it goes exactly for A2, for example, because certain grammar points, like for example the present perfect, have not been included because it doesn't go hand in hand with the Common European Framework, because it's a locally produced series. Yes, it does go hand in hand with the national curriculum. Okay?
Exactly. Yes. And somebody was asking if we have included the past simple in on the pulse one. Yes.
Yes. That's another change. Yes, remember that in the old edition, some teachers said they didn't teach the simple past in level 1, and so we left it out, and then we included it in a separate like booklet. And now this time, yes, it's there. So they are in new or in new texts. Okay. Yes. Any other question? Very good questions. Very interesting. Okay.
I need the book.
I need the book. Great. So if you do decide, please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, we will send you all the material, and both Maddie or myself, we can offer workshops with your teachers at schools to help you make the most of this series. Okay,
Exactly.
I think it's great. It's modern. It will appeal to your students. They will not feel bored. They will not say, "Oh, it's English again." All right. So thank you all very much for being here today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.